So those are excerpts of President Akufo-Addo's address to the nation Sunday evening. Joining me for more clarity on this and other policy measures introduced is Deputy Minister for Information, Pius Hatide. Thank you for joining the program, sir. Let's start off with the free hot meals for junior high school and senior high school students. How is this going to be funded?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning to you and our cherished viewers. Please indulge me to, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Information, express the ministry's greatest condolences to the multimedia group on the loss of our colleague, Saeed Ali Yaqub. We will do the needful. I'm informed that the Honorable Minister is making plans to visit with you and commiserate with you appropriately. Please do accept our condolences.
Thank you.
Now, on the issue that you raised, you are aware that in the presentation of the mid-year review and supplementary estimates, the minister responsible for finance has made some provisions for some emergency expenditure relative to COVID-19. His Excellency the President is of the view that it takes responsible and responsive governments to meet people at their times or the points of needs in times like this. And ours is a responsive and responsible government, and he intends to spare no cost to mitigate and ameliorate the sufferings of the people of Ghana. So from the national coffers, we shall make provisions for the provision of the hot meal for the over 500,000 students and the over 100 instructors who are involved with the basic education at this point.
So you've shared with us where the money is likely going to come from, but do we know those who are going to cook the meals? We know that for the primary school levels, there's school feeding program ongoing. Are we now going to look for caterers to cater for the junior high and senior high school levels, or you're thinking of extending the contract of the persons who feed the basic school level, that's a primary level, to include the junior high and senior high school levels?
Well, like His Excellency said yesterday, the instructions have gone to the ministry responsible for children and children protection and gender, and she will make this determination. Coincidentally, that ministry also coordinates the school feeding program.
Exactly.
And so I'm sure that they are better placed to speak directly to what will happen. I will not be surprised that the persons and contractors providing services under school feeding may be roped in to assist, but I cannot speak to that. As a matter of fact, this is a matter that the relevant ministry, the gender ministry, will be better placed to react to.
Fair enough. Let's come to the issue of our statistics and performance with regards to fighting COVID-19. We understand we're doing quite well and our numbers are dropping significantly, but many argue and believe this is because we have stopped the rigorous contact tracing that we used to do, and what you may want to call in our situation, mass testing.
No, not entirely true. In fact, having tested at the last count some over 400,000, in fact, 427, 427,121 tests.
But that's cumulative, isn't it? That's cumulative.
Yes.
So have we? So over time, have the tests per day increased or decreased?
Well, we can refer to the map. It's a cumulative discussion that I'm having at this moment. I do know that the testing is a function of the contact tracing, and also that the contact tracing is a function of infestations. So if I get a virus, a circumference is drawn around me and tests are conducted. So the number of infestations that you have will have a necessary implication on contact tracing and, for that matter, the number of tests. So it can be quite undulating, if you may. But cumulatively, we have tested some over 400,000, which puts Ghana in the bracket of countries that have tested per capita the most. And so we are not doing too badly as far as testing is concerned. And we also have ramped up on even our testing facilities. You know that when we began, there was just about 2 centers that could do PCR COVID-19 testing. We have ramped that up to beyond 7 and towards 9. And so we have continued to ramp up on our testing capacities. And so it may not be entirely true that we are testing less. In fact, the last time I checked, all of our testing facilities are fully operational. Yes, there was a small breach at a certain point, but the last brief I got was that all the testing facilities were performing at optimum. And that's why we are able to clear all the backlog, and we can now test in real time and give the results in approximately less than 48 hours.
According to the president, the Civil Aviation Authority and the Aviation Minister are yet to meet to finalize preparation for opening our borders, hopefully by the 1st of September. But we've seen in other countries, New Zealand, classic example, where they went about 100 days without reporting any single case, and then out of nowhere they record 14 cases. 1st September is about 2 weeks away. Looking at our situation and the fact that even across the world, in places where there were no COVID-19 records at all, they've begun to see spikes. The president admitted that himself. Would you say that you would want to give it some more time as a government? The president used the word hopefully advisedly, but we understand that you're keen on opening on the 1st of September.
Well, you're right about being careful. His Excellency the President hinted on that yesterday, and he made the point that he was only optimistic that we can do this by the 1st of September. But let me assure you that even before his public announcement yesterday, the President had already instructed the relevant stakeholders, the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Services, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, the Ghana Airport Company, to interrogate the matter and to even simulate the scenario. We are guided by the numbers that arrive and depart our international airport on a daily basis. And so we have to do a certain simulation, look at the numbers and assume that if X percent are tested, and the President made the point yesterday that even at the point of departure to enter into Ghana, you have to have a PCR negative report. But we are looking at even testing you again at the point of arrival. And that if at that point the determination is made that an X percent of the number test positive, let's say 10% of the total numbers, if we assume that 7,000 persons use the airport on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis, that is 7,000 times 4. You make the determination that, okay, 10% of that number may end up testing negative. You have to then do the calculation and make the determination that do we have the capacity to be able to manage that situation? And that kind of simulation is what the President is looking forward, so that the results of the simulation can provide evidence that we are properly prepared to be able to take this. So it is calculated risk. We are not eliminating the risk entirely, but we are limiting the risk. So it is calculated risk that His Excellency the President is considering. But we have to open up open up at a certain point. But under what conditions? It is the conditions that are under consideration at this point.
Mr. Hatide, we know the number of people who come into the country on the average. And that's statistics known to the Civil Aviation Authority and the Immigration Service. So do we need a simulation exercise to determine the numbers involved and whether we have the capacity to be testing such numbers? What exactly is involved in this simulation?
Yes, we know the numbers that are involved, but we need to know if we can deal with the possible, and I said we have to work with a number. For instance, you can check, it may be the background, the benchmark, maybe that, okay, out of the persons who have come under mandatory quarantine, how many have ended up testing positive? So you can use that number and come to a rough estimate as to the number of possible positive cases, even though they may come in with a negative test. You can estimate a certain X percentage of positives, and you have to make a determination how to manage those. And that is where the simulation comes in. We are not simulating the numbers that will arrive. We are simulating the numbers that may test positive, and how do we manage those going forward? Because now the arrivals are on a daily basis. So, and if you're looking just at even quarantining those who test positive, what facilities are you going to use? And do we have enough of those facilities? Do we have to make allocations for the use of other facilities and so on and so forth? So those are the critical areas of consideration, and that is why a simulation may be useful.
Okay, finally, Mr. Hatide, the President commented about the just ended mass voter registration exercise, and he did talk about violence and the need to eliminate it from our national politics. There's a case in somewhere in the Bunu region where a member of your party was killed. Has that come to your notice as government? And what have you been told about what exactly happened?
Well, the isolated cases of violence that have characterized the last registration, regrettably so, have been condemned by all well-meaning persons, including His Excellency, the President. So indeed, yes, it has come to the attention of the government. The government's position is that we should empower and support law enforcement to do their job without fear or favor. And so we are allowing the police to conduct investigations into all of these matters. They should not be hindered or interfered with in any way whatsoever. We are counting on their professionalism and their fairness in the conduct of this investigation and in the performance of their duty. And so that is the position. When the police finish the investigations, the outcome of it will be made public, hopefully, and we will all be seized with the matter at that point.
Thank you very much for your time this morning. Pius Hatide is Deputy Information Minister, giving some details to the President's address to the nation yesterday.